Hello everyone, here's a tutorial video to help you learn how to get started using Autocad. Now this video is to help prepare you for your first practical lesson so you have just a good feel for how to use Autocad. Okay, when you open Autocad, here's what you will see. If you click on the Learn tab, you'll see some tutorial videos here. I recommend that you should watch this tour of the user interface, creating 2D objects, modify 2D objects, the create text and dimensions, plot a drawing layout, and that's it. Watch those videos. You don't need to follow and actually do them, but they're just simply short overview videos. Okay, click back on create. Now let's start a new drawing. Click on the A in the top left and new. And you'll see different templates here. These templates have settings set in each of them. For now, let's just use the ACAD named plot styles. Click on that and open. And this file will open like this. The first thing you want to do is to save this file so you know where your work is saved. Okay, click on A and save as. Now, I recommend creating a folder that's specifically for this class. You go to desktop or wherever you would like to put it, but create a folder. Maybe call this your, I don't know, Autocad class. And then you can name this whatever you would like, maybe tutorial 1. And click save. Okay, so now I know where I've saved this file so I can always go back to it. Every few minutes you should save your work just in case your computer crashes or something. Okay, so in this tutorial video you should not just watch it, but you should actually watch it and then do it. Okay, so I recommend maybe watching the video on your phone and then having your computer where you're working on AutoCAD. So have AutoCAD open. You should press pause every few minutes and actually repeat what I do in the video. Okay, so let's get started now. We'll start with just drawing a basic line. You can start the commands by clicking on them up here, but I want to teach you how to use the keyboard shortcuts. So to start the line command, click L on your keyboard, and you'll see different commands that come up. Press enter. That starts the line command. Okay, now notice here in the command line it tells you what to do. It says to specify the first point. This command line is really important to read. It will tell you what the software is expecting you to do. Okay, so just click anywhere. Okay, and now you can move your cursor. I'm not clicking and holding. I clicked and I let go. And now you see that number, what, 33.13. If I type a number in, it will specify the length of the line. So let's type in 30. Press enter. Now that line is 30 units long and it's in the horizontal direction. To stop the line command or to exit it, I can press the escape key. Press the escape key on your keyboard. Now here's some basic just navigation tools. You should be using a mouse that has a center scroll wheel. If you click and hold down on that center scroll wheel, you can pan like this. That's the same thing as clicking this hand and then clicking the left mouse and panning like that. Okay. Alright, press escape to get out of the pan. If you zoom in, you can do that just by simply scrolling in on the mouse wheel or scrolling out on the mouse wheel. Okay, so at this point you should have created a line that's horizontal, that's of length 30 units. Now let's draw a line that is at an angle. Okay, so start the line command again, press L and enter. Okay, I'll click to specify the first point, Now instead of horizontal, I'll move up, and notice if I press the Tab key, I can specify the angle. So let's type in 30, press the Tab key again, and now I can specify the length. Maybe let's make it 20. I can keep pressing Tab and I can toggle back and forth between those two parameters, the length and the angle. Okay, press Enter. Now there's a line of length 20 at angle 30. Now make a vertical line of length 10. So put my mouse vertical and then type in 10. Press Enter. And there's one of length 10. Now let's make a line, or let's make the end of this directly over where I started. So if I put my mouse over that end point, you see that green box comes up. That's the end point. If I move my mouse just straight up now, you see that green line. It helps the tracking. Now that snaps like that. That point, if I click there, is directly above this line here. And now I'll click again and it's closed. To get out of the command, press the Escape key. Now you should have drawn something like this. Okay, so if you have not stopped the video and done what I've just done, make sure to pause the video now and draw what I've drawn. Okay, now let me show you something called object snaps that are very helpful, and we must know how to use them in AutoCAD. Start the line command again, so press L and enter. Now let's say I want to draw a line that starts in the middle of this line. You see that triangle, that green triangle? That triangle represents the midpoint, okay? Or if I want to start a line that starts on the end of this one, you see that green box? That specifies the endpoint. If I click, that would be the endpoint. So these green, let's say green icons are called object snaps, and we can set them down here. Okay, so these are all the ones with the check mark are the ones that are on right now. Okay, so watch this. Let's click somewhere around here. Let's say I want to draw a line that is perpendicular to this line here. Well, how do I make it perpendicular? It's not snapping perpendicular. So, well, what I can do is go to my object snap and turn on this perpendicular. Okay? Now when I come over here, you see that perpendicular snap icon pop up. Now if I click and press escape, now I've drawn a line that's perpendicular to this one. So if you're having trouble getting things to snap, you can change which object snaps are on. So for example, let's say you don't have the midpoint one on, and you start the line command and you want to draw a line in the middle of this one, but the midpoint is not popping up. Well, I can go to my object snap, turn the midpoint on, and now come back and you'll see it. There's the midpoint. Okay, and now I can draw a line like this. Let's draw it vertical, a length of 5, and press escape. Okay, I can zoom and pan. Okay, so at this point you should have something similar to what I've drawn here. Okay, so press pause and actually draw that if you haven't done that already. Okay, now just for practice, everyone use the line command and draw a rectangle that is, let's say, 40 by 20. So press L to start the line command, press enter. Let's just start it somewhere over here. I'll press here. Now let's type in a length 40. Okay. I can move up 20. Whoops. something happened here. My line is, oh, there's my line. Okay, sorry about that. My graphics card's not good. Okay, let's just start over on that. I'm sorry about that. Let's delete this. Okay, so let's start the line command. Press enter. Click somewhere. Now let's type in 40. Press enter. Now come up. Press 20. Enter. Now I could type in 40 again, or I could put my mouse over the endpoint and hover up, and it snaps. Now press enter, and then, or sorry, click, I mean. And now come down here and click again and press escape. There is a rectangle now. That's 40, and that's 20. Okay, now notice if I select, if I put my cursor over this line and click, this line is not joined to this line here. Okay, if I press the escape button, that deselects that line. So notice these lines are not joined, they're separate from each other. So now let me show you how this P line here, or polyline, is different. Okay, let's do polyline here. So we can start that command by typing PL. Okay, that's the shortcut command for polyline. Press enter. And let's draw a similar rectangle, okay, just above it. Let's click here and let's make it a little bit smaller, 30. Come up a distance of 15, 30, and then close it, and now press escape. Now this one was created with line, and this one is created with polyline. Watch this. If I click here, notice it's all joined together. You see that? So that's the difference between a line and polyline. Press escape to deselect. Okay, so now let me show you why that's how that is different from each other. Let's use another command called the offset command. It's a very common command. It's actually this command here, but we will start it just by typing offset. So OFF, you see that offset, press enter, and notice, what does it tell you to do? It says to specify an offset distance. Okay, let's specify a distance. Let's make ours 2. Press enter. And now, if I click on the object and go out, it offsets that line, which is that whole rectangle, a distance of 2. Now, I'm still in my offset command. What if I click on this line and I offset it? Notice it only offset that line because all these lines in the rectangle are not connected with one another. So you see, let's offset. All I'm doing, I click the object and I move out and I click again, and that offsets a distance of 2. Now press escape to get out of the offset command. Okay, so now let's delete some of these lines. I could just click Control Z to undo what I just did. Okay. Or instead of doing that, I can click on the line and click delete. You can also click and drag a box like this. If you drag to the left, anything that touches that box will be selected. And I can click that. Let's click this and press delete. Click the line and press the delete key on your keyboard. Okay, so now these 4 lines, remember, are not connected. Well, I can connect them if I want by typing the join command. Type J-O-I. You see join that comes up. Press enter. And now click here and click there. That selects all of them, and press enter. And now notice when I click, they're all joined together now. Okay, so go to type in offset again. Press enter. Let's this time specify a distance of, let's do 1. Press enter. And now click and go out. And now it's all joined together like that. Press escape now. Okay, so that's how, if you draw something with line and you want to join it, you can use the join command. Okay, well, now to notice this is all joined. What if I want to go the other way? What if I want to separate them? I can type in the command explode. Okay, so type in explode, press enter, click that object and press enter, and now notice this, when I click it, only those lines are not connected to each other anymore. So you can see that by pressing offset. Let's specify a distance. Let's do a distance of 3. Press enter. And it only offsets that line. Okay. Press escape. Okay, at this point you should have drawn exactly what I've done. So press pause and go back and do what I've done until you get to this point. Okay, let me show you a little more about zooming. So the easiest way to zoom is by scrolling in and out. Okay, there's also a zoom command. Type in the letter Z, press enter, and now if I click and let go and then click again, it zooms into that window that I just made. Now let me show you another very helpful tool. Sometimes students, they scroll way far out and they pan and they don't know where their drawing is. They've lost their drawing. Well, to find your drawing, to find your objects in that infinite space, press Z to zoom, press enter, and now you see these different options here. Okay, you see how if I want to zoom all, I would press that blue letter A, or I would, press A on my keyboard would mean all. You see this extents, the blue letter is E. If I type in E to represent that blue letter, which means extents, and now press enter, it zooms back to everything that I've drawn. Okay, so that one's very helpful. So again, let's say I zoomed really far out and I panned somewhere here and I don't know where my drawing is. Press Z for zoom, enter. You can type in E for extents, or you can just click here and there it is. Okay, so practice that. Okay, so we've shown you line and polyline. Let's see, circle here. So the shortcut for circle is C. Type in C, press enter. If I click, it makes the first point. And notice what it tells me to do now. It says specify the radius. So I can type in a radius, let's say 20, press enter. There's a circle of radius 20. Okay. Let's draw a circle that starts on the corner of this that has a diameter of, let's say, a diameter of 16 units. So let's do that. C for circle, press enter. I want to start the center of it here, click there. Now this number that I'm typing, that would be the radius. Notice it says specify the radius. But look down here at the options. You see that D? Okay, I can type D because that's what the blue letter is. Type D and press enter, and now I can specify the diameter. So let's type in 16, press enter. There's a circle of diameter 16. Now, if a command has a little arrow down at the bottom of it, notice there's different ways to specify that circle. We just did it by a center and radius. We also did a center and diameter. Or you can also do what's called 3 points here. If I click here, let's come to this rectangle. I can do 1, 2, 3. So those 3 points define that circle. Notice there's other options here. There's tangent, tangent, and radius. Let me show you what that means. let's start the line commands. Okay, press L. Let's draw something about like this. Press escape. Okay, so all of you draw something like that. Now, click here and go to tangent, tangent, radius. And notice what it tells you to do. It says specify the point on an object for the first tangent. You see that green icon that looks like a tangent icon? Click that. And now click this circle. And now let's type in a radius. Let's type in 20. Well, there, that circle has a radius of 20 and it's tangent to those two lines. So do another circle, repeat what I just did, but now make the radius a radius of 6, let's say. Okay? Try to do that yourself. Here's how you can do it. Click this again. I want the circle to be tangent to this and this. And now let's make the radius 6. And there's that circle. Okay? Alright, at this point you should have drawn all these things that I've drawn right now. Press pause if you haven't done that and make sure to draw all these objects. Okay, the next command here, a very common one, is the arc. And again, there's many different ways to draw an arc. We can start the arc command by simply pressing A. There's arc, press enter. And the default is 3 points. So let me just, let's come down here. I can do 1, 2, 3. There's an arc like that. Okay, that's 3 points. Another way I can do it, I can do the start, the center, and the end of it. So let's click that one. Again, that was start, center, end. Here's the, let's say, start of an arc. Let's make the midpoint the center of it. And now I can just move my cursor like this. And there's the end of it. Okay. Again, you see many different options here. There's a center, a start, and an end. Many different ways here. Okay. Let's look at this one again. A start, a center. Now, notice if I'm going, if I move my cursor, it's only going in that counterclockwise direction. If I hold the control key, I can go in the opposite direction, go in the clockwise direction like that. If I let go of the control key, it only moves in the counterclockwise. Again, hold control, and I can draw something like this. Okay? Alright, so hopefully you've drawn those arcs now. Now let's show the rectangle tool. So you can start it by typing rectangle, R-E-C, press enter. Here's a corner point. I can just click again, and there's the corner, there's a rectangle. Okay. Now I can specify the dimensions of a rectangle. So let's make a rectangle that is 10 by 5. Well, let's type in rectangle, press enter. There's a corner point. Now notice down here you see these options. One of the options is dimensions. And I can start the dimension option by pressing D, because that's the blue letter. Press D, enter. And now let's type in the dimensions. 10, enter, and let's make it 5, enter. Now all it wants me to do is specify the orientation of it, where it is. Okay, I click again. There's a 10 by 5 rectangle. Okay. Now most of the time when making rectangles, I just use the line or the polyline tool. I don't normally use the rectangle tool, but you can. Here's the ellipse tool. Okay. So I can click, there's the center, there's one point on the ellipse, and there's another point. You can make an ellipse. So everyone draw an ellipse. Look at the drop down tool on the rectangle. You can make a polygon. So let's click there. the first thing it wants you to do is to specify the number of sides. So I can make, let's say, a pentagon. Press 5, press enter, and now let's make the center of the pentagon, maybe the center of this circle here. Okay. There's a pentagon. Okay. Maybe make a hexagon, one with 6 sides. Everyone try that. Well, I can start that. Instead of 5, type in 6, press enter. There's the center of it. This says, do you want it to be inscribed or do you not? Well, typically we want it inscribed, and now you can specify the size of it there. Okay, there it is. There's a hexagon. Okay, the other one we have not talked about yet within the draw command is this hatching. And this fills in areas with different patterns. So you can start it by typing H. H is a shortcut, press enter. Let's come to the rectangle that I've drawn and just click on the inside. Well, right now it looks very solid. These are different patterns that we can select. Okay, if I zoom in, you see it's actually lines, but if I zoom out, it looks there's lots of lines. I can change the density or the scale of it by clicking here. So let's make it a bigger scale, maybe 10. Press enter. You see that now it's just less dense. Okay, I can even change that again, make it 15, press enter. I can change the pattern of it. There's many different patterns I can select here. Okay, it can look like a brick wall. Whoop, that's really fine. I can change this scale. Okay. Okay, I can click on that and hit delete. Let's do that again. H for hatch, press enter. Let's choose this pattern here. Click the inside. Let's make the scale about 10, press enter. Okay, and press the escape key. And now I should have filled in that rectangle just like that. Okay, so at this point we've shown you very briefly just how to basically use some of these draw commands here. Now let's go through just a few of the editing commands. Okay, let's start in another place up here, and let's just simply draw a line. Press L. Let's draw a horizontal line of length 30. Press enter. Now press escape to get out of the line tool. Okay, let's say I want to modify the length of that line. Well, if I click on that line, you'll see these different kind of rectangles that pop up. If I put my cursor over it and I click on it and then I move, you see that number that's highlighted, 4.5 or 5.11. If I type in a number, let's say type in 10, it's going to lengthen the line by 10 units. Press escape to deselect. So let's do that again. Let's click. Let's make the line longer by 5 units. Type in 5. Press enter. So that's how I'm stretching it. I can also click. I can click on the center one and move it. So maybe I can move it a distance of 20. Press enter. It just moved it up a distance of 20. Okay. Go to polyline and let's draw a rectangle. So type in PL for polyline and draw a rectangle. Let's make it 30 by 20. Okay, press escape. So all of you should have a 30 by 20 rectangle just like this. Okay, and now let's look at some of these commands here. Well, this one is called the move command. We can start it by typing move, M-O-V-E. You see that? Press enter. Now let's select the object. Select the object, press enter. It wants you to specify a base point. I can click here and now just move it wherever I want. If I want to move it a certain distance, I can type in a distance, maybe 20. Press enter. Now I've moved it 20 units to the right. So why don't all of you move it 30 units up? Try that. Well, I can do that by typing move, enter. I can select the object, press enter. Here's a base point, move up, type in 30, press enter there. I've moved it 30 units. Okay, I can copy. Now, you can type in the copy command like this, press enter. Select the object, press enter. And now here's a base point and move it. And I can put several of them if I want. Okay, so you can do copy by starting the copy command. The other way you can do it is just by selecting the object, do Control C, and then Control V. Okay, so what I did, I selected the object. On the keyboard, I held down Control and pressed C. And then I press Control V, and I can click, and there's a copy of it. So everyone try copying and moving objects just like that. Okay, now everyone, let's draw a right triangle. So go to polyline. Let's start that command. Let's draw a line here, a distance of 60. Come up, let's say 30, and then close that right triangle and press escape. Okay, there's a right triangle. Now, other options that we can do, this one is called the rotate. Okay, so if I can start that by typing rotate, press enter. I select the object, press enter again, and then I can select any point that I want, and that is the point it will rotate around. Okay, so I can rotate it up like this. So everyone draw that right triangle and then rotate it 90 degrees just like I did. Another way, let's rotate. Select the object, press enter. I can click somewhere else out here and notice it rotates around that point that I select. Okay? All right. So everyone should have drawn the triangle and rotated it. Now I want everyone to use the mirror command here. Okay, so watch this. You can mirror something by typing mirror, press enter. Let's select the object, press enter, and now I can specify the line that I want to mirror around. Okay, click there. This option says, do I want to remove the original one or do I not? Okay, if I click no, notice it leaves the original one there. Now press Control Z to undo that. Let's do it again. Press mirror, select the object, press enter. Let's make this line. This time if I click yes, it erases that original object that I just made. Okay. Okay. I just undid a few of those things that I just did. Okay, so we've looked at move, rotate, we've looked at mirror here. Let's look at this one called a fillet. Okay, I can start the command by typing fillet here. Okay, press enter. The first thing I can, let's define, let's say the radius of the fillet. Now, you see one of the options is radius, so type in R for radius, press enter. And now let's specify the size of it. Maybe let's make it 10. Enter. And now select two corners, like that. You see what it does? It puts a curve of radius 10. Okay, there's the fillet command. Okay, let's show this command here, which is the scale command. I can start it by typing scale, press enter. Let's select this object, press enter. It says specify a base point. Let's click here, and now it says specify a scale factor. Maybe I want to make it twice as big. Okay, type in 2, press enter, and now that's twice as big. So that's how you can easily scale something. Okay, the next commands, modifying commands I want to show are the extend and trim. So go to any of these rectangles that you have, and let's take a line, start a line command, and let's just draw a line like this. Now press escape. Okay, let's say I want to trim the outside of this line where I cut it right there. Well, start the trim command, type in TRIM. That's command there is what it is. Okay, press enter. Now press enter again. Okay, and then you can simply click on what you want to trim, and it trims and gets rid of it. Press escape. Now some of you maybe had trouble. Let's do that again. Okay, press escape. There's a line. Type in trim, press enter. If you don't press enter again, it doesn't trim it. Okay, so press escape. So I'm not in a command. Type in trim, enter, press enter again, and then I can select what I want to trim. Okay. Now if I click on the drop down, you see this other option, or this other command called the extend. That's very common. Type in EXT for extend. You see it there. I have to arrow down one, not extrude, but extend. Now I'm going to click what I want to extend to. So I want to take this line and continue it all the way until it intersects here. So press the object that you want it to extend to, press enter, and now select what you want to extend. Okay, now I've extended those lines to this point. And press escape. Alright, so that's how you use extend. So all of you should have trimmed and extend just like I did. All of you try that now. Okay, let me show you just a few more things here, then we'll be finished. Let's everyone do a rectangle. So start a rectangle command and let's draw a rectangle. Okay, press escape. Now let's say we want to modify the size of this. If I click on the rectangle, you see these different lines here in the middle of them. If I click and then move, let's say I want to move it in a distance of 10, I just moves it in a distance of 10. So this is how I can stretch the object just like that. I can even click on a corner point and move it also. Okay. Now notice if I want you all to try this. You draw a rectangle. Okay. Select it. Click on the corner. Whoops, sorry, don't click. Just put your cursor over the corner. Now notice you see this dimensions here, the 31.5 and the 21.4. If you start pressing, if I click on that and press tab, notice I can maybe change this dimension. I can make that 20. I can continue to press tab and I can change that dimension, maybe make it 40. Okay, so if I click on a point and I press tab, I can change different parts about it, or I can select which part to change. Okay, so those are just some different ways that you can modify the objects that you draw using these control points like this. Okay. Okay, the last modified thing that I have not shown you that we can see here is this array here, the rectangular array. So let me just briefly show you that. Let's go make a circle up here. Okay, and now let's type in array, press enter, select the object, press enter. Now it says which kind. Well, let's make it a rectangular array, so click there, and you see what it does here. I can click on this, let's click on that again. I can click on this arrow and I can add columns like this. Okay, I can click here and move up and add different rows. I can specify the distance between the columns. I can make it smaller, press 10. That reduces the distance between the columns. I can make it bigger. Okay, I can reduce this one, maybe make it 16. You see, so I'm changing different parameters about that pattern. Press escape, and there it is. Okay. Now what if I want to use a polar pattern? Everyone make another circle. Okay. And now you see this polar array. Click on that. There's the object. Press enter. Here's a center, let's say. And now I can specify how many items. Maybe I want 8 of them. Press enter. There is a circular pattern, or as that's called, a polar array. Close the array, and there you go. Okay. All right, so there are all just briefly some of the basic draw commands and modify commands. There's a few exercises in the document where you saw the link to this video for some practice things that you can try to draw. I encourage you to try to draw those. So hopefully now you have a good rough overview of how to use most of the basic commands, and this will help you when you start our first class. All right, have a good break. Good to see you.